So as for assignment submission, they might have announcement in the Google Classroom. I think there is an additional 2 days. So just wait for an official announcement in Google Classroom. Okay. So submission, I think maybe it will be extended until Tuesday. But wait for the announcement in the Google Classroom. Okay. Okay, in chapter 7, part 1, we learn about abstract classes, abstract method. And chapter 7, part 2, we learn about interfaces and everything. I haven't shown example for a clonable interface. Today's class, I think we can finish earlier. Okay? So let's see. I haven't give example for clonable interface, but what is that clonable interface? Let's recover back. We learned that we can create our own interface as well as we can use Java built-in interface, which is one of the interface is comparable. Okay, comparable. What is the method that contained in the comparable interface? We have compare to method. What we can use for this compare to method? We can compare two different objects, right? And it can return you a positive value or negative value or 0. So using that value, you can manipulate the output. If you identify that is a positive value, you can specify that object 1 is more than or bigger than whatever message that you want to specify and so on. Okay? And then next, if you see, if you want to manipulate compare to method, another one is you can do ordering, right? Sequence. Correct? You can override the compare to method based on what criteria you want to compare. And after that, you actually call the arrays.sort method. Or you can use your own sorting algorithm also in order to manipulate. Okay, we already learned that. So today, the other day we already went through this clonable interface, but I haven't shown example. Okay, and we learned that clonable is a marker interface. What is that marker interface? An interface which doesn't have any constants and also no method. That's mean the interface is actually empty, doesn't have anything. But if you implemented this interface, you actually can implement this clone method which exists in the object method, object class. Okay, so clone method is basically from the object class. So if you implement this interface, you are allowed to use a clone method from the object class. Okay, so example, if you see, earlier we learned actually we can do a copy. I tried to create one system, but okay. Okay. Let's say I have one class called house, where house can have an ID, area, and when was built. Okay. Now I want to have clonable. So whenever we say we have a clonable, we can use clone method from the object class. Okay. So even we already learned interface can have multiple interfaces. So compared to. So when we want to go and override, there's no other code. It's just like this only. You just call super.clone. That's mean from your object class. Call the clone method from your object class. But this one will throw you some exception. In case the class is not found, it will throw you exception. So you have an option. You want to use the throw clause, or you want to use a try and catch. Okay? So you put in a try and catch mean try and catch. Just written down. Okay? So like this only. The implementation is like this only. you call the superclass clone method. Okay, this one it must because it will throw some exception. Like this, only the override method. When we go to our usage of this house, okay, let's say I have a house 1 and also house 2. So let's say I do something like this. House 2 equal to house 1. Okay? If I do like this is what we call as a shallow copy. Why we say this one is a shallow copy? Because both will show to the same memory location, correct? It shows the same memory location, but it will have the same content, but both are pointing to the same object, correct? This is we call as a shallow copy. But I also can do like this, which is house 1, I pass it to the house type, and I clone it. If you clone, I will have 2 different objects and they will have same content. So if I try to compare, is it house 1 equal to house 2? Is it house 1 equal to house 2? Same or not? Same? This one is comparing references. So it will be false because when you clone it, they are both are different. That means house 1 will be one object, house 2 will be one object, but both will have same content. So shallow copy and also deep copy, they have some differences. Okay, so any changes you make here when you do a shallow copy, it will have changes in a house 2 also. But now in house 2, if I go and do some changes, it's not going to affect house 1. Or house 1 changes, house 2 also not going to be affected. Because 2 are actually different objects. Okay? So this is what we call as a deep copy. Is it ID of the house 1 and ID of the house 2 are the same? It's the same, right? Okay. Is it get area of the house 1 and also house 2 are the same? This is the area. This is the area. Okay, is the same? Yes, they're also the same. And when it is built, if you see, they have a when it is built, which is just taking system A. Okay? So is it when it is built also the same? Is it the same? Same or not? We know if you say this is a house, this is a ID, is an integer, double, area. So this is a primitive type, right? Primitive type, you just can compare the content. Okay, it will change the content. But date is actually is a primitive type or it is a reference type. Date. Date is a class, correct? It is a class. So actually it is a reference type. Okay, reference type. So how it will look like when you do that? When you copy, it will be something like this. Okay. So when it house 1, you will have house 1. House 1 will have its own object. This is object 1. House 2 will have another object. This one will have its own data in the memory. This one also will have own data in the memory. When you compare, because these are primitive type, they are actually comparing the content. Area also, it will have its specific area. This one also specific area in memory location. When you're using equal operator, because they are primitive type, it will compare the content. And when build is actually date data type. Date is actually reference type. So this one will have a memory location of where is the date is contained. This one also will have a memory location because when it copy, it will copy the memory location. Okay, so when you try to do equal, definitely it will show same also, right? It will return true because references based on references. Okay, but they are pointing to the same date. Okay, so let's say I go and change a house 1 date. Okay, let's say set date or something. I change. is it house to date also will be changed? Will change or not? Will change? Change? No change. Change? No. House to not change. Because date are reference type, you already learned date is immutable, right? Immutable. So once you already created, you cannot actually change the value. Instead, when you go and set a new date and everything, a new references point will be created and this one will point to this one. But this one still pointing to this because I didn't change the set date for this, correct? Correct or not? Because I just changed the house 1. I already clone it. I clone, then only I have a house 2. I go and change a house 1 date in, it will point to newly created date, which is, we know it is actually immutable. So this one is not referred for this one. But this one still pointing to this. So both are actually, when you compare, they are actually not having, if you try to use equal, they are not having the same references. In case if I change. Okay, in this example, yes, they are the same. Okay, so that is how you want to do clonable. So if you want to clone something, some object, a content, you can clone. This is we call deep copy because we copy everything. And also a different object will be created. But if you follow the shallow copy, both are pointing to the same memory location. Okay. So the references of the field is copied. This is shallow copy, which is we are doing like this. Deep copy is when you are using clone. Okay, clone. Okay. Earlier we already learned about this wrapper class. We learned that we have a primitive data type and also reference data type. There are 8 data types under primitive. And we have many references, string, date, array, all are references type. But when it's references type, we say that they have their own class, right? Okay. So primitive type, they cannot have data. They cannot have method. So each primitive type, they have equivalent wrapper class, which is can make your primitive type behave like an object. Okay. So if you see double, float, long, integer, short, bar, character, and also boolean, okay. This one all, if you see, they actually implemented comparable interface. That's why 2 double value you can compare, 2 float value you can compare, because you can call a comparative method, because all this one are implemented comparable interface. And even character also have comparable interface. Boolean definitely not. Okay? And all this one are inherited from the object. Okay? And if you see wrapper class, this is using primitive data type. When primitive data type, always remember it will be a lowercase. If you are using your wrapper class, the first letter will be uppercase. Okay? So actually this one now is deprecated. They are not creating like this. Actually like this also you can create. It is equivalent. Okay? So double, this one equal to new double, because string last time also we learned string A equal to hello. This one also equivalent to string A equal to new string. It's equivalent, right? A is equivalent, alright? Similar like that also. You also can create like this. Or you also can create without this new double. It's equivalent. Okay? And what is the benefit of this wrapper class? One of the benefit is when you're using arrays.sort method, let's say. Arrays.sort method only accept objects. Okay? But can I put my primitive type here? If I have a primitive type, I cannot put X here because X is not an array of object. But I can do like this, right? you can use a wrapper class, create like this, and I put double object inside here. Okay? I can create array. So this one is actually generic programming. It is accept all type of object. Even is what data type also. But if it is a primitive type, I cannot use this one. But because of wrapper class, I can use to compare float value, integer value, all can be compared. Okay? And earlier, we also learned you can use array.compare in order to compare, right? Like this one, we say that we can compare. Once you already override the compare to method, if it is array, you can use arrays.sort method in order to do in ascending order, correct? If you are using array list, we call collection.sort, right? But we also can have our own generic sorting algorithm because this one is only can do array.sort only can do ascending order only. Okay? So let's say I want to do something like this. I want to go and create my own sorting algorithm. Okay? You can go and create your own sorting algorithm using the comparable interface, call the compare to method in order to compare. Maybe you want to do it descending orders or something like that. This is ascending order. When I change this one like this is already become descending order, right? Correct. You don't change it to descending order. Now it will sort according to descending order. Okay? So you can modify according to your need. Once you already modify, you also can call your own sorting algorithm, pass in your object inside. Okay? Because here is object. This is you are using your own algorithm. Okay? Previously you are using array sort method. But you also can do your sorting mechanism or setting algorithm yourself. Then you pass in your array inside. Can also. Okay? And if you see, each wrapper class extend abstract number class. So earlier we already learned, this one all are wrapper classes. These wrapper classes are actually extended from number, and number is actually abstract class. Okay? So all this one are actually under this number. And if you see, number class, abstract class, they have many methods. Double value, float value, integer value, long value. They have many methods. What is the purpose of this method? It can convert object into primitive type value respectively. Method which is convert object to primitive type. If you have an object, that means if you are created using a wrapper class, you can convert this one to a primitive type using this method. Okay? So example, if you see, they have many methods. These are some examples. This is 11, this is 12. Okay? So let's say I have integer d1 is 90. This is a primitive type or is using a wrapper class. Using wrapper class, right? Because I is capital. Okay, this one also wrapper class, this one also wrapper class. Now if I say d1, is it equal to d2? Same. Is it same? True? True. True? Why it is true? Because it is equal, right? Equal actually compare the references. When I have integer d1 equal to 90, I put integer d2 equal to 90. Now actually it will pointing to the same because both are actually objects, right? My d1 and d2 are objects. Like I put string A equal to hello, string B equal to hello. It both are pointing to the hello one, right? Correct or not? Okay, so both are having the same memory location. Okay, because string, this is integer, this is wrapper, so it's immutable also. Okay, so when I put D1, is it equal to D3? It's pointing to the same memory location, right? This is a class. Class is object. Object, this one is immutable, cannot change. Okay? Is it D3 equal to D2? Yes, all this one are pointing to the same memory location. Okay? But let's say I do D1 equal to D1 plus 20. Definitely now it's not the same. Okay, because the value is already changed. But it will point to different memory location, right? After you add, because this is a class, it's not going to change the value. Let's say 90 plus 20, 90 plus 20, 110. It's not going to change the value. Instead, it will create another object which will have 110, now pointing to the 110, right? So the memory location definitely different, correct? Okay. And we also can create a wrapper class object like this, but if you see there's a cost, right? It means that it is deprecated. Okay, deprecated. That means no need to do like this. That means you can actually do something like this is enough. Okay, like this. Previously we also created like this. Now they say that no need to create like this. Okay. This one they don't have any, this is not compatible. But if you want, you have to use the method in order to convert the string into become a double. Okay. But if you are using like this, yes, we can pass in the string value inside. And it will be a double value. Okay. So we have many, like example, if you see, this one, just now we saw long value, right? Okay. This one convert object to primitive data type. This is actually object. I have a value. I want to convert this one to become a primitive data type, which is a long type. So use appropriate method. Since this is long, I put long value. Now this is already converted to long primitive type. Object already changed to primitive type. So all this method, if you see, it will convert object into primitive type based on the type that you mentioned. Short means short, long means long, integer means integer. Okay? And we also have many other methods. If you see, we have value of. Okay? What the value of will do? So if you see, we have a value of, okay, numeric wrapper class have useful method which is value of. They have many overloaded method actually. So it can create an object initialized to the value represented by specific string. From a string, you actually can convert to appropriate data type. So double dot value of this one, yes, like this. So just now the string that I put in red color, right? So I can use like this, double dot value of, I can put a string here. So it will be a double value. Okay. Integer dot value of, that means from the string, it can actually become an integer type. Okay. So they have many methods. Even they have pass int, pass double, you are converting string to become a double, or converting string to become an integer. Okay? So all this one are possible. So this is a string value I want to convert. And even pass int, pass long also, they have two overloading method. you can actually pass the base. Is it base binary, octet, or decimal, or hexadecimal also? Okay. So all these are wrapper classes. Okay. So you just have to know can use and many methods under the wrapper class. Okay. So we are done with chapter 7. Anyone have any question about chapter 7? No? Okay. Now when we go to chapter 8, okay. Chapter 8 look like we already cover some portion of chapter 8 when we do a chapter 4 because mostly chapter 8 is about drawing UML class diagram. Okay, so we already done view of it. So this chapter is focusing on analysis and design of software application which is using object-oriented approach and giving you all the class design guideline, technique, pattern and how to reuse your classes also. Okay. So earlier I think I no need to recap back everything. Briefly I go through. Earlier we already learned what is the purpose we are creating UML class diagram. Why we are creating UML class diagram? Even if you're not creating your class diagram and your class diagram wrong also, your program still can be run. Okay? But maybe it is not easy to maintain. It is maybe not reusable. Okay? But if you follow a guideline, if you want to create a fully object-oriented approach, yes, they have their benefits, right? You can create a reusable application, maintainable application, flexible and everything. You have to come out with a class design, proper class design. Then only you can enjoy that particular benefit. Okay? So, last time we already learned, when you want to come out with a class design, you must identify the class. I think you already after this stage currently. Okay? And one mistake that I always see is class name must be a noun. Remember, class name is a noun. So some of you put as a verb. Okay, register. Register is not a noun. It is actually a verb. So you go in a register. Register is actually a method. Login. Login is not a noun. Login is a verb. So remember, classes are usually noun. Okay? And another mistake, identify attribute and the method that you put inside each of your classes is not correct. Because last time you already learned it must be single responsibility, correct? That means one particular class must contain data and also method related to that particular class only. Okay? So some of you put, let's say, this one is user, okay? User, under the user have, let's say, name and everything. Booking ID. Can you put booking ID under the user? Does user has this attribute? Attribute means what describe about a particular noun, right? Is it booking ID describe a user? No, it is not describing a user. This is describing about a booking. Booking is the one who will have a booking ID. So check back your data. Okay. Relationship, many of you confused whether want to go for association, aggregation or composition. Okay. This one, whether this or this one, you have to identify based on your program. I cannot say that this particular case, it cannot be a composition because it is based on your scenario, your business rules. Okay? If you say that when I'm creating this particular object also will be created. Okay? Then it is a composition. Earlier we already learned, right? Remember this one. Earlier we already learned. If you are using aggregation, If your parent is deleted, the child still can exist, right? Okay. Composition, if you see, we will be creating the child object inside the parent's constructor. So the parent is deleted means the child also will be deleted. Okay. So when you are creating this relationship, you check first. Let's say you say customer and also booking. Okay, I show one example. Actually, I want to create one example for your assignment. I don't have time. But end up, when I want to create a small portion of it, but end up I have to create too many classes. Extend until I have to go for many classes. Okay? So let's see one example here. I can have something like this, right? Person and also customer. Okay? Person and customer, let's say first step just now is identify the classes. Okay? If you learn about ER diagram, you can bring your ER diagram concept here also. ER diagram is for the database tables, right? Okay, so you can bring that one also the concept because this is considered entity relationship, right? Basically, this one also will be a kind of entities in your classes. Okay, identify all your classes. If you have a description about your scenarios and everything, go identify what are the noun. List down everything. Okay, so I identify that I'm going to have customer. We're going to have a membership, going to have booking, event, conference, seminar, let's say venues. I want to make it simple, okay? So example, if you see, once we already created the classes and everything, we come out with the data, right? Data. So I want to say that customer is a person. So I try to identify. Maybe in the future, I want to have another one more class, which is staff. Okay? So I try to check what are the common data between staff and also customer. Okay? Staff class I haven't created. Staff class I haven't. Let's say I go to my person. I identify that customer all will have a name. Customer also will have phone number. Staff also will have a name. Staff also will have handphone number. So, repeated data view. Repeated data view means we put under the parent. This is the inheritance. Okay? And then when I go to my child class, I will say that child will have their own. Let's say customer, they have customer's ID. Customer will have some other attribute. Example, this one I want to check whether the customer is actually already have a membership or not. So I have a field in order to check whether they already have a membership or not. So you list down all the information about that particular customer. If you have for a staff, you list down all the information about the staff. So I think inheritance should be no problem, right? Inheritance, correct? Okay. So data already identified. Now how we want to identify the methods? One example that usually people will use is this one. Using CRC, classes, responsibility and collaborators, which is you put your class name. After that, you put all the responsibility and you identify this one will have collaboration with which particular class. That means now you already know student must have a link to. If I have a student, this student must link to a course. From here you already know. Let's say this one can create booking. You already know. This one must have connection to the booking. Like this also can. This is a famous method as well. Okay? So example, let's say I want to identify Customer, they can create booking. Customer, they can view all the booking. Customer can search the booking. Customer can delete the booking. All this method under the customer, right? Because what is the method? What that particular object can do, right? Customer can search all the event. Customer can view all the event. Customer can apply for membership. Customer can view for the membership and everything. Now, if you follow the CRC way, I can identify customer must have connection to all these three classes. Okay? Customer can create booking. Customer can apply for membership. Customer can search or customer can view all the events and everything. Okay, so we can do something like this. After that, you can go and create whether this relationship is association, aggregation, or composition. So go back to the previous one. Inheritance, I think you already know how to check. Let's say customer and also membership. Is it an association? Is it aggregation or composition? We say this one is a has a. Has a mean this one will be a part of the data inside that particular object, right? So try to check. Is it membership will be part of customer's data? Because this is independent, right? Membership means membership. Customer means customer. Customer can be independent also. Not necessarily customer must have like a membership or something like that. So I'm going to think that it is has a. If it has a, when I create my customer, let's say you go for aggregation. Let's say this is customer ID. I will put my membership here. Is it membership is one of the data for the customer? No. It's not the data. Okay. So I go for association, which is customer can apply for the membership. Okay. Then let's say like this, customer and also booking. I think most of you do like this also. Customer has booking, easy to do, the code. Which is when you create customer, you put your booking here. Customer and booking are independent, right? They are independent. Okay? Let's say you put customer here. Let's say customer booking here. Booking is not part of customer. Booking also can be independent. One customer is already, let's say the customer, they deleted one particular booking. That customer is not necessarily must be removed also, right? The customer still can exist. He can have many booking. One booking can be deleted and everything. Okay? So it's not going to be aggregation. It is association. It can be association. When you go to here, booking and also booking detail, we identify that booking, it cannot be standalone. Let's say I said booking have booking ID and booking date. But booking must have, I want to display. In each of my booking, I want to display this is the ID, this is the date, and this is the event that you booked. Then I want to put this is the ID, this is the date, this is the event that you booked or something like that. So must have a detail. I know that under the booking detail is a part of it, right? It's a part of. Then I can say this is a has a. Whether it's aggregation or composition, identify. If I created one booking one. If I deleted this one mean, does the booking detail also will be deleted? Yes. This one is related to this booking. So yes. So it's a composition. It's a part of. Because booking, this data is part of this one. Okay. Then I identify booking detail will have event. Is it association or it is aggregation or composition or is it has a booking detail? When I display this booking detail, I will have event detail as a one of the data here. So it is has a relationship. But event, it can be many different events. It can be standalone, right? That means if I deleted this booking detail, this event still can exist. So it is aggregation. Then event you want to break down whether it's a conference or seminar. Then event also can have a venue. Event, is it association? Because when I specify event, I will specify where is this venue for this event. So I can say that it is actually a data for the event. So I say that this is aggregation. But it's not composition because venue, it can be shareable. Okay? So that is how you identify. Okay? Then you want to add more classes and everything? Yes, you can add more classes. So if I go to the code part, if you see customer actually can create booking, this is association, right? Customer can create booking, okay? I have to link when you create a customer. Is it this one is considered polymer? This one is considered. If I created a data like this and I put something like this, is it already considered as a composition? Is it considered as a composition really? No, actually it's no. If you put like this, it's not necessarily this one is a composition. Because I have to identify this particular customer, what he's booking, right? Okay? So I have to create or initialize and declare an array under that particular customer. So it's not necessarily it is already a composition. Okay? This is mainly for the initialization for the particular customer or declaration of the customer. Initially the customer doesn't have any booking. Later on that customer will have some booking. Okay? So I can go and create a booking. Let's say mine I have a booking detail. So if I want to create a booking you have to create a booking detail first. So I will add this booking detail into the booking. After that, add into the array list. Okay? Then you can come up with all the methods and everything. How? Mine is association just now, right? Association. So I can actually do like this also, which is declare like this. Then if we go to the example just now, book. Let's say booking detail and also event. This is actually aggregation. Aggregation means definitely it will be part of. So event and also booking detail. Booking detail. Okay. So if you see under the booking detail, I will have event. This is aggregation. Because I say that booking detail must have event detail. This is the aggregation. Then we say that event will have a venue. Event have a venue. Go to the event. Event will have a venue. So it's a data. It's because aggregation said that it will be a data for that particular object. So venue will be a data for that particular object. Okay. So that is how, when you come to implementation, that is how you do. Okay. Let's check my composition working. Okay, so that is how to implement. I think once you already started to do some of the code and everything, you actually maybe already know how it flows. And another one is you can try to come up your program flow first. How you want the program flow. Then after that you design this one, change accordingly also can. Okay? So this is about the design. I don't want to go through again because we learned before, right? But in order to differentiate association, whether it's aggregation or composition, you try to check. That is the way how you can check. Association, You don't need to put the data as a part of that particular object. Has O only, it is a part of the object. Okay. Dependency, we already learned also. That's mean that particular class is actually depend. We also learn about enumerations and everything. Okay. Now let's see. This chapter, the question that always come in the final is drawing class diagram. One. Class diagram. Another one is mainly the concept. Okay. Concept, which is, let's say, coupling. All the keyword like instant variable. So maybe it's theoretical questions. If you see the code part of means it will be a class diagram creation. Okay, this topic. So let's see what is that coupling. Coupling means dependency. Dependency. So if you see the coupling actually increases. Composition is the high one, yes. Aggregation, association, and dependency is here. It is increases in this way. Okay. Similarity, differences. Okay. And we also already learned inheritance is a strong is a relationship. Interface is a weak is a relationship, right? Okay, but interface is almost similar like the inheritance. Okay. Example like this one. Okay. In exam it will be a simple question like this also. Okay. Example. Person has name. That means name will be part of. If you see here, you see this one name. Okay, this is address. So definitely this is has a relationship, right? Has a, because this data is a part of it. Okay. Whether this one is actually composition or aggregation, name. Person has a name. If this person died, or this person, let's say I created person 1 object, is this one deleted, the name which is the last name, first name also not exists, right? Okay, so that's why it's a composition. When it's come to the address maybe some people stay in the same house, okay? So it's a shareable, share. And a borrower is a person. Borrower can actually borrow a loan. The loan, if you see, maybe they have a loan ID, loan amount and everything. So this loan is specifically for this borrower, right? If this borrower is removed, this loan I cannot associate with another object, right? Because this is unique for this particular borrower. How much amount, what particular loan that he borrowed, I cannot pass to another borrower object. So it is composition. Okay? So when you design your class diagram, follow all these cohesion, consistency, encapsulation, clarity and everything. What is that cohesion? Single entity. So it must have data and method related to that particular class. Okay? Should not combine other responsibility inside. Consistency, follow Java naming convention and also the style. Okay? You can override the equal method to string. Okay? Encapsulation, private modifier, get and also setter method with the public method. Okay? That is how you can do. You also can go for protected. Clarity, it can be reused. Okay? And another one also, should not declare a data field that can be derived from other data field. Example, if you see, you already have a birthday. You also want to put another data called age. Shouldn't be like this because from the birth date, you can identify the age. So, don't redeclare some variable which can be derived from another data field. And usually, you will not do this. age. This is not dynamic. This year you put 20, next year it's not going to be 21, it will be 20. So usually we are not going to put age, we will put birthday. Okay. Completeness. Choose whether you want to go for instant variable or static variable. Okay. Choose whether you want to go for inheritance or aggregation. Has a relationship and is a relationship is different. Okay. Interface, or you want to go for abstract classes, all this one you have to check. Okay. So the one all about class diagram. Another one, if you see package, what is the purpose of package? Previously, we can organize our classes, right? We can create packages. Okay. So when you create, the reason why people are using packages to locate the class, you want to make avoid naming conflict also, and is actually protect our classes. Okay, so mainly we are using packages for this purpose. And naming also, if you see, usually will be hierarchy. If you put C dot, that means Java is one folder. Inside have lang folder. Inside got math folder, right? This is the hierarchy. Okay, this is nesting. So if you follow the naming, it can be a lowercase as well. Okay. When you call, you can call like this, dot. And you can also put asterisk inside, anything inside this particular package. Okay. Specifically type also can, or you put asterisk like this also can. That means anything inside. Let's say after this I put asterisk inside this package. Okay. Like this. Under the util we have an array, we have a date and everything. So you don't need to independently call one by one, import util.date, util.array like that. You can put asterisk like this. Even scanner also like from that. Okay. Java, we know that they already have so many API. That means they already have so many classes. All are already arranged in a packages. You call an appropriate package and you can do it. Okay. Another one. This one is just an introduction only. Okay. You had a question. Let's say this one is event management system. Okay. I give another example. Let's say previously you do it a pizza ordering system. Okay, you come out with the system, create everything from scratch, classes and everything. After that, your group was assigned to develop ice cream ordering system. Okay, ice cream ordering system. Then usually programmer, they are not going to reinvent the wheel again. That means create everything from scratch. So we know that object oriented is reusable. Okay. But not only when you create object like this, you can reuse. Actually, you can reuse in many different aspects. Method, your task question, right? How you want to achieve reusable? Using classes and also object can. Using method can. Using API can. Using library also can. A lot of ways that you can achieve reusable. Okay. One of the way that you can achieve reusable is using design pattern. What is that design pattern? In the software engineering, they have 20 plus, I think it's around 24 design patterns. What is that design pattern? They have already come out with how you have to organize your classes. Is it this one you have to create an interface? Or this one is an abstract class? Is it a concrete class? How to arrange the class? They have already come out with your design for you. But how to choose? Example, class For RSW, I think you will be learning in one of your paper. RDS, I'm not sure. RSD, I know they have one paper for integrative programming, learning about this design pattern. RSW, yes, they also have one paper. Okay, 20 over design pattern. If you see, these are some examples. Example of the design pattern. We have observer pattern, factory pattern, singleton pattern. Maybe you heard about singleton pattern. Heard before? Okay. They have strategy pattern, decorator pattern, state pattern. What is all this? They already, let's say, in my question, in my system that I want to create, I want to do something like this. This one is actually for event management system. Come on, this one for event. Let's say you want to have, let's say that particular event that you already created, someone already booked for that particular event, and they have some changes in the date of the event. Okay, how you will notify the customer? Customer need to be notified. Maybe maybe the sponsors need to be notified, or maybe those people who are going to put their booth or something like that, they also need to be notified, right? How you will create the classes? What method you going to put? What classes you going to create? It's complicated, right? So, if you have a scenario like this, they already have a pattern how you design your class. Okay? They already have a class diagram for it. You try to go to this one, internet. You try to type observer design pattern. They already have class diagram for you. Create one interface. Create one abstract class. Create your abstract concrete classes. They already have the design. You follow the design mean you can command with this. You can do this particular function. So that's mean the design is already there. Design pattern mean this is one of the way how you can actually reuse the code. Because software designer, they're not going to recreate again and again. Another program, I also might have a similar like this. I already know I have to follow this particular pattern. I can come up. I don't need to create my own diagram, right? Okay. So example, let's say I have like this. In my scenario, I have I want to create different types of event, maybe conference, workshop, concert, and everything. Okay. This one also you have a pattern which is can minimize the work, and the diagram that they created is reusable. It's already proved that it is reusable, it is modifiable, it is flexible, maintainable, and everything. So you don't need to modify actually, you just use. Okay? Singleton pattern, strategy pattern. Let's say strategy pattern actually you can use for the payment. You have many strategy in order to do the payment, right? You can go for this pattern. Okay, all this one are some of the design pattern. We see one of the design pattern, okay, in order to understand. Okay, singleton pattern, this is a very simple pattern. Okay, do you want in your class? How if in your class you want only one instance to be created? You want in your program only one instance only can be created. Example, when you are dealing with database and everything, we don't want to let every time you create a connection, and it is actually take up the time, right? So I want to create one connection, then you can do all the activity, then close the connection. We don't want to keep on open the connection again and again. So it is memory for the memory efficient. So I have one problem. I want to create only one instance out of that particular class. How to design the class? So this is the problem, and we already have a design pattern which is suitable to do this one, which is we call singleton pattern. So singleton pattern, it tell you go and create one private static variable, create your constructor as a private, create a getter method in order to return this particular instance. So when you created your class like this, it only allows you to create only one instance. Correct or not? Only you just call this one message object, this one message of this is a static variable. So message object get instant, get the instant, this is the instant. This is the object creation, right? So every time, this is the only object that I can create. That means I call this method, this is the only object that it creates. And this one is already private, so no point that no way that I can create another object. So the design is like this. So anyone wanted to say that I want to have a problem that they want to have only one instance to be created, they follow this one in order to create. So only one instance can be created. Okay? So similar like that also, many design pattern. So we also have decorator pattern, another example. Decorator pattern is very suitable when you have something like this. Let's say I want to do pizza ordering. You have many different type of pizzas, right? Are you going to create Hawaiian pizza? After that, you create, let's say, chicken supreme pizza. Then Hawaiian pizza also, you can have with some topping and everything. Are you going to create another class which is this one based on the particular topic? You create one more class? Another class? Let's say ice cream. I have one ice cream which is vanilla flavor. I will create vanilla as one class. Then vanilla plus with some nuts topping. Are you going to create one more class? Nut topping plus with maybe nut or maybe sprinkles with some chocolates or something like that. It can be a combination of many, right? Are you going to create classes with all this combination? If like that, mean it will be too many classes, right? Okay. So in order to avoid this one, you can go for decorator pattern. You already have what class you have to create, what interface you have to create. This one already shut down, I'm not sure. I think I have decorator pattern. Decorator. This is the way how we actually come out with the class diagram. They already have class diagram. If you follow this design, you actually can come out with a reusable, flexible, maintainable design. Okay? This is italic, right? That means it create one interface. Create concrete component. That means concrete class, what you want. Create one. This one is also italic, right? That means this is abstract class. This is concrete decorator. What particular option that you want? Then you actually can put the operation inside here. This operation, let's say you want to calculate price. Calculate price for the ice cream. Base is 5 ringgit. If you add one topping, chocolate topping, add 2 ringgit. You add another Cocoa Crunch inside, another 2 ringgit. It's dynamic, right? Correct. I cannot predict and create one class for it. So it's a dynamic. So if you want to have dynamically changing functionality, we can go for decorator. which is get price override here, get price also override here based on that particular concrete decorator class. This is the design. If you follow the design, you can create a reusable, flexible, maintainable program. Okay, so that is a design pattern actually. Okay, just an introduction. Okay, so if you have a design pattern, okay, it is actually proven sound software strategy for designing classes. So you can reuse. You don't need to reinvent everything from the scratch. Okay. So expert designer, they are actually not solve the problem everything from the scratch. Actually, they reuse the solution from what they actually created in the past. Okay. So if you already know there are readily available solutions, just use it. Okay. So that is design pattern. Okay. And lastly, if you see, we already learned about immutable and also mutable. Immutable means you cannot change the value once you already created. Okay. Mutable means you can change the value. So normally if you see, you create an object and usually we allow them to change the value. Let's say I create a customer class, then I will say that you can set the name, you can set the address and everything. Okay. Occasionally, it is desirable to create object whose content cannot be changed once the object is created. Maybe we wanted to do something like this. Okay. So that one we call as a immutable object. So example, last time, we already know string is actually immutable. Because in this example, name will be pointing to college. Now, message equal to hello. Okay, this is a message. This one will be creating hello. This is two different ones. Okay. Now, let's say this name I change to hi. So, this one not pointing to this one. This one will be pointing to I, like this. This is not changing this one. Instead, a new object will be created and pointing, right? So this is immutable. So in your own created classes, you want to make it is immutable also can, mutable also can. Example, when you put here setter method, okay, you are allowed them to change the value. That means this is mutable, okay? But how if I want to make it immutable? So a class with all private data field and without mutator not necessarily immutable. That means if I remove this one, okay, mutator means it is setter method, right? Okay. If I remove this one, is it considered my circle is immutable? Is it immutable? Not necessarily. Okay, you see this example. I have a student class, I have a birth date also. In the birth date, I have year, month and day, and I have a birthday constructor and also set year. Here in the student, I have get ID and I don't have set method and everything. Okay, just get the birth date only. Okay, when I go to create a student, I try to create the date, get the date, and I can use date.set here. Here, I don't have any setter method, right? But still, this is considered is you are changing, correct? So, it is not necessarily when you remove a setter method, you already make it is immutable. In this case, we don't have setter method, but it still can change. Okay? So, but date can be changed. So, if you want to make your class is immutable, declare all data field to become private, you remove all the setter method and provide no accessor method. In this example, if you didn't provide this get birth date, this is immutable. Okay? So remove all this, no accessor, no mutator, private data field. You can make it immutable. Okay. Only removing mutator is not necessarily is become a immutable. Do all this, yes. This one definitely, right? It can be changed. Okay. Okay, we already complete chapter 8 also. So as I told you previously, this chapter 8, the slide only too many slides. But basically, if you see in the final exam, the question will be class diagram. Okay, create class diagram. And all this one, no, design pattern also is just an introduction only. No. Okay. Maybe the question, because this one is covered interface and abstract classes, they covered about inheritance aggregation, so they can ask you more theory question like what is that inheritance, what is that aggregation, compare inheritance aggregation, the concept, which is this one also covered previously. Okay, so the topic is like this one in this chapter. Okay. Okay, so we already covered the whole part of this coverage for this syllabus. So, as previously, if you see our objective, try to go and check our objective previously. This course, what we want to achieve last time. What you want to achieve. What you want to achieve. Okay? Check back. You know the advantages of object-oriented programming over procedure programming. I think this one is already one of the test questions, right? Advantage. Okay? Advantage of object-oriented. So if you know object-oriented is how, procedure is how, and object-oriented how is better, yes, achieve. You can know how to use array, method, exception handling to create a program. You know how to apply encapsulation, inherit, and polymorphism, yes. If you know 3 of these, that means you achieve the objective of this course. Okay? So anyone have any questions? We already finished. So we have another 2 more weeks. Okay? And we will be doing puzzle question. I will go from the first, the latest. Okay, latest question. And I will be actually posting this one into Google Classroom, a Google Doc file. Anyone who want to contribute the answer for that particular question, just type the answer. I only will discuss question with the answer only. If you don't have answer, I'm not going to give the answer. Okay? So, I will post it in the Google Classroom, Google Doc, and I will specify which question can have a link and everything.